For some, it was a lifeline for family members and for working parents after school programs, especially in the inner city where individuals really did not have much going for themselves after school. Tyrone Bowman live. According to an article in the Washington Post, the headline reads, White House seeks to cut nation's only federal after-school program. The White House budget proposal cuts and consolidates programming for high-need students as part of a $12 billion reduction to the Education Department's spending. So let's get into this and find out what this is really about. The Trump administration is seeking to cut the only federal after-school programming in the nation. The 21st Century Community Learning Center, a program created by the federal government, provides roughly $1.3 billion for after-school and summer activities to reach about 1.4 million students nationwide. The White House budget proposed, currently under construction by Congress, would eliminate the program and 17 others that serve lower income and underscored K-12 students as part of a $12 billion cut to the Education Department spending next year. In other words, these programs are probably prominently featured in Black neighborhoods, and they're going to eliminate them as part of the BBB, or the Big Beautiful Bill, quote, close quote, to make sure that billionaires continue to get excessive tax unnecessary breaks. The department would consolidate the 18 programs into a simplified funding program, placing the onus on states to determine how to allocate the reduced pool of funds. Educators and advocates warn that cutting the funds would supplement state and local education and community-based providers will lead to hardships for families, as well as lower enrollment in after-school and summer activities or cancellation of sub programming. When you take away these programs, you make it really difficult for these working families. They now have to scramble, either back on hours or find another place for children, quote unquote, said Eric Peterson, Senior Vice President for Policy at After School Alliance on Education nonprofit. Proponents of the cut say it is a step closer to eliminating federal programs that obstruct states' quote ability to enact policies that best serve their interests. The evidence on 21st century learning centers is that they're ineffective. They are not fulfilling their promise. They should be closed down, said Jonathan Butcher, acting director of the Center for Education Policy, and Will Skillman, senior research fellow in education policy at the Heritage Foundation. Well, how about this? In this bill that was passed late last night, why are billions of dollars being given to wealthy families to send their children to private schools? So why do privileged billionaire families need more money to send their children to private schools? And then you say, well, it's called school choice. Everybody can get vouchers to a school, you know. You know that's a lie. Billions of dollars being given to white, privileged people. Meanwhile, in the inner city, inferior teachers, inferior education, inferior schools, inferior academics. That's the problem. That is the problem with the budget. The White House says consolidating programs would ease unnecessary administrative burdens imposed under current law. This revamped approach to grant making is aligned with the administration's efforts to return authority over education to states and local communities, and administration officials said in a statement to the Washington Post. Well, why do politicians need government money for their campaigns then? Why can't they get out there and find another way to get their money? The Maine School Administrative District 54 serves more than 2,200 students through K-12. Roughly 250 of those students participate in 21st century community learning programs, which provide $1.1 million to kindergarten through 8th grade throughout the year, spread out over 4 years, school officials said. In the summer, 130 students attend day camps that provide activities including creative writing, culinary arts, physical education, and STEM. Quote, when we think about the scope of what our kids are able to experience, 21st century programs really help meet the need that a lot of families can't, said Dawn Fickett, the director of after school and summer learning programs at the district. I remember years ago, the Republicans were against STEM cell research. They made a big to-do about it. But when one ex-president needed stem cells, then it was the most beautiful thing that ever happened. They changed their tune all of a sudden. So when after-school programs are primarily benefiting Black and brown children, they call it being ineffective. They call it a waste. We got to get rid of it. We have to streamline it. We must punish them. They can't have a place to go to. They belong in the streets where they can get shot down. They belong in the streets where they can't have any access to the things that the privileged children of wealthy people have. Think about that for a minute. Do you know how many parents depend upon this? The White House proposed cut would be a significant blow at a time when the district has already had to reduce summer school enrollment by 42% this year because 95,000 of COVID relief money has run out, according to the district. Without 21st century funds or monies, I don't know what we would do, Fickett said. Federal funds for after-school community learning centers are required to provide students with academic enrichment, opportunities for families to engage in their child's education development, and provide a broad array of services that reinforce participation in the program. The after-school program also play a crucial role in keeping students fed outside of school hours. The new London, Connecticut school district says 21st century funds, such as a $200,000 grant it received for one of its elementary schools, help free up resources, allowing more students access to snacks and meals year-round, such as over the summer. Quote, after-school meals and programs provide a safe place where kids can eat and stay engaged. It supports working families. To cut those meals means we have hungrier kids during the school year, end quote, said Clarissa Hayes, the Deputy Director for Child Nutrition Programs and Policy at Food Research and Action Center, a nonprofit advocacy group focused on nutritional access at Gadsden City Schools, a district about 60 miles north of Birmingham, Alabama. 9 of the 12 schools use $1.5 million in federal community learning center funds to operate their after-school programs. Gadsden's median household income is $38,699 yearly. About 72% of the district's 4,000 students qualify for free or reduced lunch, according to school officials. President Reagan did the same thing when he was in office. See, I'm a student of history. And I think I'm going to make this I don't have enough. Well, I can't make it a two-part. I was going to make it a two-part video. Now, with the expansion of after-school academic enrichment programs, Donahue Elementary School improved from a mindling 71% state report card grade to an 88% in the 2023-2020 school year. The school was recognized statewide as one of the top 5 schools for greatest improvement this past school year. Ravine Bagley, 34, says she was pleasantly surprised when her 9-year-old daughter, Kasaya, came home from the after-school program at George W. Floyd Elementary in Gadsden, knowing how to write in cursive. Bagley earns $40,000 a year, raising funds for child literacy, local United Way branch. The after-school program gives her peace of mind that her daughter has a safe and educational environment to grow in at no extra cost. It's not just playtime. It's not just babysitting. They're actually learning, Bagley said. Gadsden City Schools' current grant, which was awarded in 2022, expires in September. If cuts are approved by Congress, which they've already been, the $1.8 million in after-school funding the district is set to receive in October could be put in jeopardy. That's the bottom line. Hardship, 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 and more hardship. And I'm going to keep saying this, whether folks like it or not, and y'all voted for this crap. Y'all voted for the punishment. Y'all voted for unemployment. Y'all voted for families being put out on the street, higher wages, increase of everything. And you say this is what you voted for? You are lying through your teeth and you know it. Go to the comment section. Wise says hello. What's happening? Shakala, chocolate rain, whatever. Uh, what the F happened to you? I don't know what you mean. I'm just me and I'm going to continue to be me. Never surrender, never quit.